Welcome back. I'm your girl, Denise Joy. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my journey to uncover, honor, and celebrate my formerly enslaved ancestors. On this episode, I'm going on a journey with my sister. We're taking a road trip. We're starting out in New Orleans, and we are driving over 400 miles to reach our ancestral land in Arkansas City to be specific. Our first stop is a historic cemetery in Arkansas City, Arkansas, where our 2 times removed great-grandfather and our 3 times removed great-grandparents are buried. We covered a lot of miles, saw many interesting sights that had us chuckle, laughing out loud, and mostly reflecting. Once we hit the McGee, Dermott, Tiller area, it made me reflect and remember my 3 times removed great-grandmother, Jennie Bailey, and her land that she purchased in Dermott. The anticipation, the excitement, and also some of the sadness that we were getting ready to visit where our ancestors were buried. We made our way down the road and we entered Arkansas City. I reflected on 1835 when the enslaver of our ancestors brought them from Virginia to Arkansas City. They really were the pioneers to create and start southeastern Arkansas economy and industry with their brilliance. We already knew there would not be headstones, unfortunately, for our ancestors because of the burial practices of the white enslavers. So we were prepared for that. But we were told that a very good friend of our second great-grandfather, Commodore Perry Bailey, that his headstone was still there and intact, and we were looking forward to seeing if we could find it. We were so excited. It felt like in no time at all, we pulled up at the Mound Cemetery. Our third great uncle, Isaac G. Bailey, was a member of the 1885 House of Representatives. His name is actually mentioned on the Mound Cemetery plaque, and it states that his brother, Commodore Perry Bailey, my second great-grandfather, and their parents, Perry Bailey and Virginia Jennie Bailey, are buried here at the mound. Although I knew it would be here at the cemetery, it was still a shock to see the headstone of the former overseer of my formerly enslaved ancestors here at the top of the mound. That was the practice at the time. The enslavers were buried at the top and the enslaved were buried at the bottom in case of flooding. That was just the brutal truth. It was a really, really marvelous, honoring opportunity for my sister and I. We were so moved. We decided to visit our newly found cousins in Dumas and bring them back so they too could visit the mound. Here in part 2, I'm going to show you the headstone of our second great-grandfather, Commodore Perry Bailey's good friend, Nicholas Manley, and also the family plot for the enslavers who actually brought our ancestors from Virginia in 1835 to Arkansas. The descendants of Bailey gathered, starting with our great-great-great-great-grandpa Perry and great-great-grandma Virginia Jennie Bailey, Perry from Talbot County, Maryland, Jennie from Virginia. So far, that's as far back as I can go, but we gather in the name of Bailey. Walking where our ancestors walked was a truly moving experience. We spoke their names, we reminisced, we laughed, we shouted, we asked questions, we reflected. In the historic research documents of the mound, it is reported that the John R. Campbell family is buried at the top of the mound in this rather large gated area. That would include John R. Campbell's son, Charles W. Campbell, who was actually the plantation owner and ran the plantation where my ancestors were enslaved. Here we see on my second great grandpa, Commodore Perry Bailey, and his wife Ann Bailey's marriage certificate, Charles W. Campbell is actually the witness to their marriage in May of 1866. We speak their names: Virginia Jennie Bailey, Perry Bailey, James W. Bailey, Commodore Perry Bailey, Isaac G. Bailey, all born between approximately 1793 and 1847. All of us were disappointed that there were no headstones for our family members. But it was really special to let my cousins know that our great-great-grandpa Commodore's best friend, Nicholas Manley's headstone was at the base of the mound. My second great-grandpa Commodore and his brother Isaac G. Bailey, along with Nicholas Manley and their wives, in 1875, they pulled their money together and they bought over 400 acres of prime land. That's some friendship, y'all. This discovery put a smile on everyone's face. You know, we all said something very similar. We know our ancestors are happy. They are glad. They are uplifted. And we are glad too. As the Arkansas sun beamed down from the sky, there was so much joy mixed in with some of the sadness. We climbed in our cars and we made our way out, leaving the mound. But we knew this was just the beginning. We were not going to stop. I certainly was not. And now my sister has gotten the bug. So she is joining me. You have to stay tuned for the next videos. We went to do more research at the Arkansas State Archives. Oh my goodness, wait until you see what we discovered. Will records, inventories of probate records for our ancestors, Commodore Perry Bailey and Isaac G. Bailey. We also interviewed again the oldest living Bailey relative, Chris Eatman. She's 85. We found bills of sale for the former plantation. And guess what? We found out that our ancestors were actually enslaved in the entire square mile area that is current-day Arkansas City. Just wait till you see how we figured that one out using historic survey plat maps. Thank you so much for going on this bit of journey with me, and I hope that it inspires you to do your African American family history, because you can do it.